Greetings. I have the honor of talking to Pastor Mark Shane Halls and his wife, Emily Shane Halls. On August 29th, 2010, Pastor Mark and Emily came to Peoria to assume the pastorate as the first pastor of Living Waters. So we are blessed to have them here. And this is almost like deja vu, Pastor, because the very first time that we had contact, and it was on a video call. So, it brings back sweet memories. So let me ask you, can you both reflect on the very first time you heard of Living Waters and the early interactions while you're still in Costa Rica? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, so we were living in this little house, on the side of a volcano, basically, surrounded by coffee fields, and our search was beginning for where we would end up after that mission year that we were on. We had to trust and had to believe that God was going to make it clear. And it became very clear through conversations with you, Paul, and through Kathy and a number of other people. The sun just kept on seeming to shine on Peoria.
And one of the things that really struck me, and I still tell this story 10 years later, is that when I was interviewed by the interviewing team, they really said, we want to know what your gifts are, and we understand that this isn't a 2-for-1 deal. And I think, historically, pastors' wives are kind of expected to do a lot in the church and might carry a lot of responsibility. And for some, it's been a burden. And I never, ever have felt that from Living Waters.
And I remember going to cookouts, talking with the Crowsdale girls. One of the questions I asked them was, so what's to do for fun in Peoria? And they kind of went through and told us about, things that they like to do. And I don't know, it just felt, in some ways it felt very natural. I think it was very stressful in some ways too, to be, kind of on display for that amount of time.
We escaped for a few days to Chicago in the middle of the week. But yeah. It was a very intentional time. I think you guys really wanted to see, which I appreciate. A lot of times, if you just hear a pastor preach that hour and then that's basically all. I mean, you got to see Mark's full range of gifts, I think, which was a really good thing about having that longer process.
I think seeing the passion in the church and the depth of leadership, I had never seen a Lutheran church like Living Waters before. And I think at some points I started to think, wow, I mean, am I really up to this? I mean, these people have very, very high expectations about what they want this church to be. Mm-hmm. And of course, I had high expectations too of what I wanted this next call to be all about, So I think I realized that there was a potential for just a very good match. And that impression was correct. I mean, that's really the nature of this congregation.
Yeah. There was no staff person till Mark came. And so it was bare bones, everybody, it's very lay leadership. And, Kathy was leading music. And one of the first things that we got to do was start the worship team. And so that was such sweet times, that first year or two. It was mostly Mark and the guitar, Kathy, and then Scott Anderson singing with me and Grandpa Buddy singing. And such sweet times. I just feel like it was the best. I really, really can't emphasize enough how precious those times singing with them were. And the other thing I remember about the very beginning, that first year, was that at the end of the service, we would all go around and make a big circle in the sanctuary and hold hands and close out in prayer. And that was also so unique, kind of to what Mark was saying about, just the size of the church. It was just such a family feel. And I think we still have that. But that was just so unique from any other church experience I had had. It was really precious.
How did you experience Living Waters come alongside you and support your family, support the Shane Halls family, not just Emily and the kids, but Mark and Emily and the kids?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that comes to mind is, growing up as a pastor's kid, I, had various points in my life where I thought, oh, I never want to marry a pastor. I don't want my own kids to have to be pastors' kids and to be in the fishbowl and all the expectations. And so it is a little funny that here I am married to a pastor, and yet it's just the perfect fit for me. I know God knew what he was doing. And one of the biggest blessings is that I know that there are people in my home church in Minnesota that prayed for me and my siblings every day. And that just was such a blessing, because now I know that there are people at Living Waters that pray for our family every day and that pray for my girls. I would not trade that for the world. That is an incredible blessing and a privilege that we have as a ministry family that not everybody has, and I don't take that lightly.
We just have such incredibly gifted people that understand what the church needs to be.
That the importance of being really known by a few people, that strong community, and also the importance of passing real faith, the relationship with Christ instead of religion, or just attending church, making that a priority. And I think we do that well at Living Waters, but to keep growing in that so that the kids, as they grow up, will stick in church and stick falling in love with Jesus.